Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. In this module, we shall be talking about energy sources, but with the emphasis on fossil fuels. You know, all the energy sources can be divided into two categories: renewable energy sources and non-renewable resources. These fossil fuels come under the category of non-renewable fossil fuels. You know that these fossil fuels are formed by the natural processes such as anaerobic decomposition of the buried microorganism, and these fossil fuels are formed from the photosynthetic energy that is contained in those microorganisms. So, the objectives of this module are to understand the types and characteristics of fossil fuels, to gain knowledge regarding composition of fossil fuels, and to understand the distribution pattern of fossil fuels. What we understand from the fossil fuels? Fossil fuel is a general term that is used for buried geological deposits of organic materials formed from decayed plants and animals that have been converted to crude oil, coal, natural gas or heavy oil by exposure to heat and pressure in the earth crust over million of years. It has been reported that the formation of these fossil fuels may take some time, even more than 650 millions of years. The fossil fuels can be divided into two categories. One is coal, that is solid form. Second one is petroleum and natural gas. Petroleum is liquid or semi solid, and natural gas, as the name indicate, is in gas form. So, now we will be discussing about these all the three one by one. First of all, let we come to the coal. Coal contains complex organic compounds along with little amount of organic matter and water. The main constituents of coal are carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Besides this, small amount of nitrogen and sulfurs are also found in coal, and recent studies have shown that Indian coals contain the significant quantities of mercury also, and along with that these coals contains some radioactive materials also, although quantity is very less. Stopes and Wheeler in 1988 defined 4 megascopically distinguishable ingredients of humic coal, and these megascopically distinguishable ingredients are vitrane, clarane, durane and fusane. These ingredients also known as lithotypes. The details of these ingredients are given in the e-text. I will suggest the students please read about the details of these constituents, that what these ingredients are. The microscopic constituents that can be identified under the reflected light microscopes are known as marcirals. There are three groups of marcirals in coal, and these are vitrinite, liptinite and inertinite. The marcirals are classified on the basis of morphology and optical characteristics. Now, let we come to the ranking of coal. Rank of coal depend on the degree of coalification. You know, the process of formation of coal is called as coalification with the passage of time. The chief agent of coalification is the geothermal heat. The general progression of coal rank with increasing temperature is peat, lignite, subbituminous, bituminous and anthracite. Let me discuss these different types or different forms of coal. Peat is the first form of the coal. We cannot say that peat is a coal. When you have a look on the peat, you will still find that vegetals are visible in the peat. At many places or widely, peat is used as a fertilizer at many places. The next stage to the peat is lignite. Lignite is a low quality coal. This is brown or brownish black in color. This is rarely black in color. The next form is subbituminous coal. Subbituminous coal is harder than lignite and peat, but when we burn this subbituminous coal, this will give yellowish smoke. Vegetative things or vegetal constituents are not visible in the subbituminous. Vegetal components are visible in the lignite. The next form is bituminous coal. Bituminous is moderate to good quality coal, and when bituminous is widely used in the thermal power plants, in industries, and the purest form of the coal is anthracite. This is shining and pure form of the coal. When we talk about the analysis of coal, there are two type of analysis of the coal which are done. One of them is called as proximate analysis and second one of them is called as ultimate analysis. Proximate analysis is basically to find out the, you can say, proximate analysis is mainly to know about the constituent of the coal, and ultimate analysis is carried out to know about what is the percentage of carbon, hydrogen, sulfur, nitrogen, etc. in the coal. Now, let me come to the origin of coal. Coal forms when dead plant matter deposited in peat lands is converted to peat, that in turn convert to lignite and finally to anthracite through the stages of subbituminous and bituminous rank. The ideal condition for the transformation of plant materials into coal exists in temperate or moist tropical climate with slowly rising groundwater in slowly subsiding sedimentary environment. This involves a brief biological process which is followed by a geological process encompassing millions of years under a thick pile of sedimentary rocks in sedimentary basins. The deposited plant materials in peat forming swamps are first covered to peat by a biochemical process dominated by anaerobic bacteria. The peats progress through various ranks of coal because of geothermal heat during further subsidence of the sedimentary basin under a thick pile of sedimentary rock. India is having large deposits of coal. Let me have a look on the distribution of coal in India. The lower Gondwana coal fields are scattered in the province of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Sikkim. About 98% of India's total coal production comes from the lower Gondwana coal fields. Upper Gondwana coal fields are distributed in Gujarat. You can one example is Guneru coal field of Kutch. Then in Madhya Pradesh, over there we have Hiran River Valley coal fields of Jabalpur district, and Maharashtra, that is Kota and Chikala coal fields. Let me discuss Paleogene coal. Paleogene coal accounts for about 2% of India's total coal production. The Paleogene coal fields are located in Assam, Meghalaya, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. Recently, small lengths of coal have been reported from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Paleogene coals contain a significant amount of sulfur. However, the ash content of Paleogene coal is low, just 2 to 8%. Paleogene coals are usually with low amount of moisture. The Paleogene coals contain volatiles up to 45%. These medium grade cooking coals have a calorific value of around 8000 calories per gram, then petroleum and natural gas. Now, let me discuss about petroleum and natural gas. Petroleum is the most important fossil fuel. The name petroleum covers both naturally occurring unprocessed crude oil and petroleum products that are made up of refined crude oil. Petroleum includes liquid, gaseous and solid hydrocarbons. In normal pressure and temperature conditions, lighter hydrocarbons, methane, ethane, propane and butane, these four occur as gases, while pentane and heavier hydrocarbons are in the form of liquid or solids. So, I am repeating again, petroleum can be present in the form of gases as well as in the form of liquids or solids. 4 hydrocarbons containing methane, ethane, propane and butane, these occur as gases, while heavier than this butane, that is pentane and further hydrocarbon, they exist in the form of liquid or solids. Let me have a look on the elemental composition of petroleum by weight. Petroleum contain 83 to 85% carbon, 10 to 14% hydrogen, 0.1 to 2% nitrogen, 0.05 to 1.5% oxygen, 0.05 to 6% sulfur, and metal content is less than 0.1%. Let me have a look on this table, and this table gives the relative percentage of different types of hydrocarbon molecules in petroleum crude. Here we have given the name of hydrocarbon, its average content and the content range. If we talk about alkanes, that is paraffins, the average content of alkanes or paraffins in petroleum is about 30%, and this range from 15 to 60%, whereas naphthalene, the average content is 49% and the range is 30 to 60%. The average content of aromatics is 15% and the range is 3 to 30%. Asphaltics are average content of asphaltics is about 6%, and remaining then these constituents is asphaltic content. Now, let me come to the origin of petroleum. Petroleum is derived from the remaining of living organisms, which upon deposition in sedimentary basins convert to an inert solid organic material known as kerosene. Kerosenes are considered precursors to petroleum. Under the anaerobic condition, kerosene is transformed into flammable substances called bitumen by the action of heat and anaerobic microbes in the sedimentary and natural catalase. Most of the bitumen is eventually cooked into terry asphalt, releasing hydrocarbon molecules, water and carbon dioxide out of the source rocks as it heats. Heavy oils form first, then light oils. A temperature rise to above 100 degrees C, source rocks produce more gas. Being lighter than rocks, petroleum tends to rise upward through fractures and the pores of coarse sandstone beds. Now, let me come to the migration of hydrocarbons. Migration of hydrocarbons can be of two distinct types involving at least two distinct mechanisms, namely primary and secondary migration. Primary is the process by which hydrocarbons are expelled from the source rock into an adjacent permeable carrier bed. Secondary migration is the process of movement of hydrocarbons along a carrier bed from the source area to the trap. The term tertiary migration has been applied to any subsequent movement of the accumulated hydrocarbons. Such movement could represent adjustment in response to changed geological conditions such as change in depth of burial, tilting of the strata, development of avenues by faulting or erosion, escape to surface to give seepage. Let me have a look on the distribution of petroleum in India. In India, 4 categories of petroleum related sedimentary basins have been classified. They are named as category 1, category 2, category 3 and category 4. Let me come to the category 1. These are proved petroliferous basins with viable commercial production, and the example of these are Assam, that is Arkan basin, and Bombay basin, then Camby basin. Category 2, the occurrence of oils in these basins is known, but commercial production and viability is yet to be obtained. Its examples are Bengal basin, Andaman Nicobar basin, Kaveri basin, Krishna Godavari basin, etc. Then category 3, although no significant oil or gas reserves have been discovered yet, geologically they are considered prospective, and its examples are Konkan basin, Saurashtra basin, etc. Category 4, the prospects are uncertain. Some basic data are necessary for prognosis of these basins, and its examples are Arunachal foothills, Ganga valley, etc. Now, let me come to the reserves and production of petroleum. India has a crude oil reserves of 621 million tons as on 31st March 2016. The biggest reserve is found in western offshore, that is about 39.79%, followed by Assam, that is about 25.89%. The estimated reserve of natural gas in India as on 31st March 2016 is 1227 billion cubic meters. The highest reserve of natural gas are located in the eastern offshore, that is 36.79%, followed by western offshore, that is 23.95%. Let me have a look on this table. This table provides state-wise crude oil and natural gas reserves in different states of India, and from based upon this table you can find out that significant quantities of the crude oil are present in the Assam, Gujarat and western offshore. About 25%, as I told earlier, percent of crude oil is in Assam, about 19% it is in Gujarat and about 39% is in western offshore. Similarly, if we come to the natural gas, it is evident from this table that significant quantities of natural gas are present in Assam, eastern offshore, Gujarat and western offshore. In this module, we have studied about coal, different types of coal, formation of coal and the reserves of coal in India. Similarly, we have studied about petroleum, natural gas, their formation and their reserves in India, and based upon that discussion we can safely say that India has one of the biggest reserves of coal in the world. However, petroleum resources are very limited in comparison to the major oil producing nations of the world. For securing the energy security in future, India has no option but to venture to the nuclear energy or other renewable energy sources. The different renewable energy sources that can be used by India, that you will be discussing, or about that renewable energy sources you can find the details in the paper of energy and environment. Thank you.